I talked several videos ago about my struggles in high school to develop friendships because it was the first time in my life I really had to have skills in order to make friends. And I just didn't have those skills. And one of those skills was being able to have small talk with people. And I think one of the reasons why I still dislike small talk very much to this day is because it usually starts off with what I would call one of the worst questions in the world. One that probably is very annoying to many people listening to this right now or watching this. And that question is, how are you? Such a frustrating question to me because it's almost like we're like programmed to follow this script, and by saying, oh, I'm good or fine, when in most cases that's not the case. We're not good or fine. In many cases we're either the opposite or varying degrees of good or fine, or definitely some other emotions. So I guess one of the things that frustrates me about this question is so often we're giving an answer that is not true, is incorrect. And I do wonder how much this question like this plays a part in masking for autistic people, because it's not authentic. You're not being truthful at all. So this question is very challenging for, I think, a lot of other reasons. One thing is, if I am authentic by answering this question, what does it lead to? Like, how am I going to be perceived by you if I actually do tell you the truth? I also think that there's a ton of context in answering this question. It certainly depends who is asking, the question, what do I share? Is it appropriate to share or not to share? And then even if it is, do I really want to get into like potential questions that could be asked of me if I am actually being truthful with the person? So all of the, there's a lot of decisions to make once someone asks you this question. And I think the thing that is even the most annoying to me is that communication is truly about connection. And so often the question of how are you does the opposite of building connection. So instead of asking how are you, what I'm trying to do so much more often now is actually ask questions initially in this phase of small talk that build connection. I'd much rather ask someone, how anxious are you, than how are you, because I think you're going to start to build much more connection with that question versus, the question of how are you? Even just asking, like, if you don't want to ask that question, what are you looking forward to this week? Or even like observing things around the person and mentioning those observations instead of asking, how are you? So I definitely think when you ask questions or things that build connection, moving from this small talk is going to be a lot easier for the conversation to flow into actually the main purpose of your conversation, or just to move it into a more positive progression and people not being so anxious. So I feel like if we're not making connection in small talk, there's literally no point to it. And these are things that, through Autism Personal Coach, we support people with in kind of developing connection in communication. So if you're interested in that, you could always book a free call with me. And thanks so much for listening to me today.